Hey guys, this is Masdouk, founder of TECHMA AI. We provide CRM, data analytics, and AI automation services for businesses. So I think it's been like almost like 2 months now, which I haven't done any new video. And the main reason of that is because I have been working on like an exciting project for TECHMA AI. So we are actually building a platform called Cashfy, and the goal of that platform is to create, AI solutions, pre-made AI solution, which businesses can just, use. Like they can log in into our platform, they can see actual complex AI solution which already been developed. Not those very simple, sending like email through Zapier or like writing email content using ChatGPT. Not those very basic things. It's very complex things which we are building. The reason why is because we noticed that like on the marketplace currently, all of those platforms has template, but most of those template are usually not like that relevant for businesses. So usually businesses need complex process in terms of, let's say you want to automate your lead generation agent, right? You want to automate your lead generation process. There is multiple step to follow to be able to automate your lead generation. So thinking about scraping online website, right? So scraping maybe LinkedIn, thinking about being able to score like those leads which you have scraped, finding their personal information. How do you do that? So it's not just like one step process. It's very multiple step process which you are actually building to make this work and to make this very functional for the actual company. So that's the reason why we'll tackle this demand, because we think this will be very, very useful for our businesses and for our client, which we currently work with. And that's the reason why I kind of like have been like just focused on this for those last 2 months to make sure that we can have something available in the beta version for anyone who is interested in kind of just incorporating those AI solutions within their own business, which is going to be really relevant for them. So we're going to have kind of, let's say, for now, we are thinking about having two packages. One which is mainly focusing on you guys doing, your own setup, right? Because we provide you with all the nitty and gritty, like everything you need to actually do the setup yourself. Within your own environment, you will have access to your own platform. You use your own Make account or your own Zapier account, whichever tool we are recommending. You will create your own account. You will do it yourself, right? So that's really like do-it-yourself methodology. And we have another one which is more like will guide you through the implementation. Whenever you have any question, whenever you don't know how to do specific things, you can just send us a message. We'll be able to help you and guide you through the full process from A to Z. So anyways, that is not the goal of this recording. And just to let you know the reason why I have been away for 2 months and I have been working very hard on this implementation here. So the goal of this video today is to talk about how can you actually build reporting dashboard based on all of those data which you are gathering, right? So nowadays with AI, there's so many data going on, right? So you have data in your CRM, you have data within your ChatGPT, you have data within, your cloud, you have data everywhere now, right? So how do you actually build relevant report, relevant analytics, which will help you guide, and improve your decision-making process, right? So that's what data analytics is for. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can build reporting, how you can build dashboard using Zoho Analytics from A to Z. Let's get started. All right. So to start building your dashboard, you need to have a Zoho Analytics account, right? So first thing you can do is go to Zoho Analytics, and I'll put the link within the description of this video here. So just like create an account first. It's pretty easy, simple to do. Just enter your first name, last name, all the information they're going to be asking you. And then once you create the account, then you will be able to log in to your Zoho Analytics. So I already created an account here. So this is a demo account. So let's click, I'm going to click on Access Zoho Analytics because I already created the account. So once you create the account, you will see here, you will have what we call Workspace, right? So there's Workspace, there's Dashboard. So Workspace is the place where you will see all of your data, right? So if you are doing, let's say, you are integrating Zoho Analytics with, let's say, your YouTube channel, right? If you're doing something like that, then you will have one workspace being created for YouTube channel, which is not the ideal way of doing things, right? So I'm going to explain why in a moment. Because usually what people will do, that's a big mistake, is people will click on import your data, and then they will import the data. By click on import your data here, what they will do is they will choose, you can see there's so many applications you can connect with. This is very exciting. So you can say, okay, I want to integrate with YouTube ads, for instance, right? If I do that, then what will happen is the system will create a new workspace for me, right? Zoho Analytics will create a new workspace, which I don't want, right? I want to have one workspace where I have all my data into one workspace. That's the main goal here. Because by doing that, you can then build multiple very complex reporting, which combine those different tables. So imagine like you have data from Facebook, data from Facebook ad, Google ad, Instagram ad, and so on, and you would like to know how much it costs you in terms of running all of those ads every month. By having data in different workspace, you will have it will be very difficult for you actually to be able to build consolidated report, right? Obviously, there's always a way to build it, but what I recommend is if you are running just one business, just have one workspace and integrate and put everything in terms of all the data within that one main workspace. So that way you can build a report which use all of those different data sources, basically. So in this example here, we're just going to use, let's say, Zoho Books, for instance, right? So let's say we have a Zoho Books account as an example. Here you can see this is integrated with Zoho Books data, and this also integrated with Zoho Desk, right? Normally, you only need one workspace. You don't need more than one. Since this is kind of the demo account, this was already been set up. That's why it's like this. But what I will do here is I can kind of delete this one because I don't need it, right? So I would delete it. I will just keep one workspace. So we'll do the same thing for the demo one here. And let's go now to Zoho Books Analytics, right? So that means this platform, this is we are now within the workspace itself, and this workspace is taking data from Zoho Books, right? So how do I know that? So by clicking on these settings here, clicking on data source, you will see here, this is the integration with Zoho Finance. That means it's getting data from the books, from maybe inventory, the different Zoho application, which is related to finance. So what you want to make sure of when you are doing this, I'm going to do an example with you on how you can add your data within that main workspace so that you can start building, exciting report and dashboard. So I'm currently under the data source. What I would do, I would click on add new data source. By clicking on this one here, I can choose whichever application I would like to connect. So in this case, what I will do is I will just search for Zoho CRM because I would like to have CRM data within my workspace. So I'm going to click on Zoho CRM here. I click next. So it's loading. So it's going to give you all the different module, right? So what you need to do is just select everything, right? So select all the different module, everything you have, do all the selection. So that way, when you do that, you make sure that you have all the data been selected. You won't need to do it like next time when you start building the report, right? So you already make sure that all the data have been selected already. So I won't need to do all of this. Okay, just this is for the sake of this example here. And I can choose what is the frequency, which I would like to sync this data. I can choose hourly, and then this now has every hour. So that means every hour, Zoho CRM automatically will sync with my Zoho Analytics workspace. So I can start building a dashboard and a report. So I don't need to create a default report. Usually I like to just start fresh and creating my report based on what I need really for business. So in here, I can click customize. Let's see here, do we have, so what is good here is it give you a blend relation, which because you notice that you already have Zoho Books integrated. So it will give you some example where you can actually like map some ID from Zoho Books with Zoho CRM, because those two are Zoho application, right? So I can enable whichever is missing currently. I'll go back and then click create. So once I click create, it will take maybe a few seconds, and then we'll start synchronizing the data from the CRM to Zoho Analytics. All right, so it seems like it's been added successfully. Now I can click OK. So if I go back to data source again, now I can see I have two system now there, right? I have two data source. I have Zoho Finance and then I have Zoho CRM. I can add anything else, right? So if I want to add, let's say YouTube, I can add YouTube ad, I can add Instagram ad, I can add so many things. I can even create my own connection. Let's say if you don't see your app here, you can really integrate your own application using the extension capability of Zoho Analytics. Since I now have some of the data, so you can see we have like Zoho Books data, Zoho CRM data now start syncing. So it's not there yet, but it's already started, right? So this is going already. So what we can do is we need to identify what are we building, right? So you need to have an idea in terms of, what are you looking to build? So in this example, what I would do, I would just build a very simple report just to show you how everything works. So since we have finance data, we can say let's build a report to show revenue generated maybe by like each client which we have in the finance in the system. So what do we need in that case to build such a report? Obviously you will need a contact, you will need a customer, right? So let's say if you go to Zoho Finance here, so in Zoho Finance, doesn't seem like we have a lot of table either. So let's refresh here to make sure that we have many table. So those are the table which we currently have. So the question is, are those table enough? So it seems like we have Zoho Books here, which is this is more like the report. So what you want to do also to make sure that you are only seeing the actual data itself, you can click on this here and click on the filter on the right icon here. And then it will show you all the main table which is in the system. As you can see in here, we have customer and then we have invoice. We could already use that to build whatever we need to build as an example here. So let's use customer. So I'm going to open the customer table. So they show me all the customer which we currently have in the system. Obviously, this is an example, right? This is very simple data, not actual real data here. And we can open also the invoice. All right, so let's open the invoice one as well. So we can see all the invoice which we have as well in the system. So what about if we can we build like, let's say a report will show, the customer and how much revenue each of them they have generated for us. So to do that, what we can do is we can click on this plus button here. And then depending on which type of report you are trying to create. So if you are creating, let's say, a table report, I will recommend to use new pivot view. If you are trying to create a visualization, right, a chart view, then use this new chart view. So let's start with creating a table report first. So I'm going to click on new pivot view. Then from there, I have all my main module, right? So I have the customer, I have the invoice, and all of them are there. So I can literally use any field which I would like from those different tables. So what I will do here is we have the customer name, right? So I will just drag the customer name within the row. So if I drag it, then it will show, click here to generate pivot, right? So I'm just going to click on that button. So just show me all the different customer which we have, right? So show you the list of the customer as a row, right? That's why I'd say rows there, because you want to see the information as a row. If I switch it to a column, see how you will see the difference. Then it's as a column, right? So that's the main difference. So you know the difference. Why do you need to drag it within the row instead of within the column? So what I need, I want to have it like as a row here. Sorry, let me just drag it back as a row and click again. Then what else can I do? So I have the name of the customer. So we said we want to build something which show us the revenue generated, right? So what we can do is then we can scroll down to go to the invoice now. So we have the invoice here, and then we have different information regarding the invoice. So in that case, what I can do is I could drag the value which we have for those invoices within this table as well. So let's see. So I have subtotal. So subtotal is probably the main one you need to use, because that's exclude the tax, and it exclude also the currency exchange rate, because this is using BCY. BCY mean like base currency, right? So it's actually using the actual base currency, not the converted currency. So you want to make sure to, if you are using Zoho Books, just be aware of that. Usually you want to use the base currency. So in this case, since this is an actual value, right, I will drag it under the data, not as a column, right, or not as a row. So I'll drag it here. Then it will show me, okay, do you want to have it as a sum? Sum mean, let's say if you have two invoices for the same customer, then it will make the sum, right? So it's pretty straightforward. So this is very easy and simple way of actually building a report, because you are just drag and drop within different section to build your report. So now I have like something like this, where I have my my basic report, where I can see, okay, this is the customer, this is how many revenue they have generated for me. Now this doesn't look great, right? It doesn't look attractive. The report is kind of, so what I want to do is I want to make it more attractive, right? That's the whole point. I don't want to have something which is not very well designed, because I will be looking at this every day. So it needs to be very well designed. So I'll call it like maybe sales by customer, right? Something like that. Let's call it that way. And I will save it. So usually what I like to do is creating a new folder where I can put, everything which I create. So that way I can easily find them later on. So I can call it, like, say, TECHMA, tutorial report. Okay. And then I can click on OK. Then that will mean I can click on OK again. Then it will save it. So that means this report is now saved under that folder. So the next thing I can do here is I can change the design, right? So to change the design, you have this option here where you click on theme. If I click on theme, you can change whichever you want, right? So you can see the preview while you are clicking. So I can change whichever you want, whichever I want. So I usually like this one. I'll just go with this. And then I can choose the font. Maybe I want to use Lato. I will just choose Lato in this case. I want to give the space maybe between the row. If I need that, I can do that here. So it looks nicer. Maybe I want to change the color. So depending on, the theme color, my company color, which is green. So I can change to custom color. I can choose whichever I want. I can choose, green here. And, this looks now better, right? Then I can click on it to close it. Then I have a nice view of the report. I can save it. So the next thing I can do here is I have those 1, 2, 3. Do I really need that? Not really, right? So I can then hide them. So to do that, go to the settings here. On the settings, you have more capability, more option. So you have the layout. You can see what you have here. You can try all of them if you want. If you try the compact, it will show as a compact. This might not be great for this type of report because there's not that many columns, so it's not very useful. So I will leave it to tabular here. Then display. What do you want to display? Do you want to display the row? No, I want to hide it. Now we just see the row, just the number are gone now. And you can play with anything here. So if you want to wrap the text and the columns, you can do that. Yeah, there's so many options here. The columns alignment, you want to align to the left or to the right, whatever that might be, you can just choose them here. I like to put them in center. Click on the format. So the format here, we have the customer name. So you want to keep it as a customer name. Subtotal. Do I want to keep it total subtotal? I just want to say subtotal. I like to just say subtotal, or just, sales if I prefer. Right now, just change there. In this, I have the customer name. Okay. I have the option to drill down. The drill down is very interesting. If you enable it, it'll help you kind of clicking on the actual value and then see more information. So if you are building complex report, you may want to have more information on what is actually happening, how many invoice may be included within those sales value. So by doing that, you have the option to actually do that. And you can click edit to see more option. So usually, let's say you have other report you already built, you can say, okay, when I click on the value, I want that report to show up. Right, so that's also another capability. You can drill down through report. I won't be doing this in this case here because this is very beginner tutorial to help you understand how to build, very quickly your dashboard and your report. And you have Zoho Analytics, which is now there, where you can say provide a column to be used to generate the insight on this report. Right, so that means you want to generate insight. By using Zoho, the system could kind of just checking on this column here, the invoice date, to give you more information on the report. And you can add more columns apparently. So this is very new feature. It was not there before, so which is good. So that means they are actually incorporating AI within data analytics, which is really, really important as well, which is good. So I really like this. Perfect. Key driver analysis, I guess, configure the column to be used for that diagnostic, show key driver for diagnostic insight. So you can enable that. Why not, right? So you have all those capabilities now. They have incorporated AI within the system, which is really good. So now I have my report, which is better now. Then I have the grand total. I can even change the title here if I don't prefer grand total. Maybe I want to just call it total, right? Because this is not really grand total. There's no subtotal here, so it doesn't need to call it grand total. Then I can save it. So if I want to change the font, right? So if you see here, you have in Canadian dollar. Maybe I don't want to show the Canadian value. I want to show differently. So in that case, what I would do is, since this value is coming from the invoice, I will go to the invoice table here. And then I will see, okay, I was using the subtotal, which is this one, right? I can see this because it's showing up as Canadian here. So I can click on the actual column, right click, and I'm going to click on format column, right? So I click on that. They can say, okay, the currency symbol is Canadian. I can change it to, something different, maybe in dollar. So let's see if I can find it here. Okay, so I have it here, right? So I can choose in dollar because it's going to be looking nicer and visually better. And if I want to center the value, I can click on the center as well. Click OK. So now I have this now center, which means the same thing will get applied on my view here. If I refresh, now I have a nicer view, which is, I think this looks better than the previous one. So maybe I want to add another columns, right? So let's say I want to count how many invoice is part of, this total here. So what I can do is I can drag the ID, right, of the invoice. So in here, I have the invoice here. I can search for an ID. So every table always have an ID. This is the minimum because you need to be able to, compare the invoice value, the invoice table with maybe another table, which is a customer table and so on. So in this case, what I will use is I will search here. Okay, I have the invoice ID, which is probably a unique ID. It must be a unique ID because you will have, this is an invoice table, right? So it will be like you'll have one ID per row. Then I can drag this one here, and I want a count, right? Because I don't want to make a sum. I want to count how many ID is part of those value. So since this is a unique one, I don't need to choose distinct count. I can just keep it as a count basically, and this is going to be a normal count. I don't need to worry about anything else. This is what you'll be using the most. And click on generated. And then you can see it show you automatically how many invoice is included in this one. You had 3, this one is 1, this one is 1, and this one is 1, and so on, right? I can change the value, the name here by double clicking as well. I can say this is invoice count or sales count, all right? And then this is like center to the right. I don't really like that. So what I would do is I can reorder that, right? So to do that, so let's go to the settings here. And we have the columns, right? Under the columns, then we have the invoice ID. I can change the format of this column. I can just click on this one, center, to center it. And usually I like, in case there is 1,000 value, then I will put a comma. So I like to have it like this. I click OK. All right, perfect. Now it's center now. I can save my report. So now I have a pivot view, a pivot report. I would like to have a chart. I think it would be very nice to see a chart of this, instead of just a table. Some people prefer, viewing a chart view than having a table view because it's visually easy for them to analyze it when it is a chart view. So in that case, what I would do is I will click on, I can go back to my invoice here or to the customer table. It doesn't really matter. I can click on this plus button again and click on new chart view. Then I can build the same thing similar to what I just built by using the pivot view because it is the same logic, right? So what I would do here, I would drag the customer name within one of these cells. So it's going to be X-axis, right? Because I want it to be horizontally, right? Aligned. So choose this, click here to generate. So we'll show you something like this, but this is completely inaccurate because this is not what we need. We want to show the value. So it's missing the Y-axis. So our Y-axis is coming from our invoice table, which is the subtotal, which we use already. So we just drag it here under the Y-axis, leave it at a sum, and then click here to generate the report. So now I have a better view. Now I have each customer name and I have the value of the sales we had with them. So the other thing which is currently missing is the sales count. Now I want to see, okay, how many invoice has been included within those sales value. So what I could do here as well could be I could drag one more time here the invoice ID to the Y-axis. This will be as a count. You can generate it. So now you can see it's showing like this, where you can see, okay, you have this count and then you have the value which is on the right side. So this might not looks, visually, like it's difficult to see, the actual value because it's very small value. So in that case, what I will do is I will change how this has been displayed. So you have different type of, a report here. So you can choose a stack bar. You can choose, a combo chart. I think a combo chart is probably better here because you can combine different visualization. So by choosing the combo chart, I can click on this 3 dot here and I can say, okay, I want to create a custom combo chart view, right? Click on custom here. And then you will see here, you have now the capability of choosing, okay, you want to show one as a column, maybe you want another one as a line chart. So up to you. So I think the subtotal, choosing them as a column is better. And then the invoice ID, the count, choosing that as a line item is probably better. So you can see here, actually not really great either. at least you can actually see the different the line chart, right? So let's see if we have another type of report we could actually use instead of this. Maybe let's see. What else can we use instead of this? So we have the bar with area. What else? Okay, so the other thing we can actually do here, since it's not very, we don't see it properly. So what you can do here, you hover on the left because you actually have two y-axis, two y-value actually. So you can split them, right? I think that's another option. You can actually split them here. So you can click on one of these here to split it, right? Now I just split it. So now that means like you will have one on the other side and then one on the other side. Now visually they are kind of like on the same scale now. So that's why you can see the line chart showing up better and visually better than what we had for the previous combo. I think this is great. This looks better. So I can see, okay, this one has this value 100 and then has one as an invoice count, right? Which is very good. Maybe what else can we actually do here? Obviously, we need to change the name. So let's call it sell by customer dash chart view. Sorry, chart view. Okay, so we have that. Then you can click save and you can save it under our custom folder here. We'll click OK. What else can we do? We can rename, obviously, each of those columns as well. So we can rename them. You have the format option. You have the access settings. I click on that. Then it will show you the settings one more time here. And then you can start renaming things. Right, so I might want to rename the y-axis one. So in here, it's saying, total subtotal. I can just click it as sales. What else? You can change the font. You can do a bunch of things. In this case, I won't necessarily do that. We also have a legend. So I will click on this here. Maybe I want to show the legend on the bottom instead of on the right. I don't really like showing the legend on the right because it takes too much place. So I will adjust this to be just like bottom center. Now it's there. I think it's better. Do I want to show the title legend? Not really. I just want to show it like this. It's better. Maybe the color, if you want to change the color as well, you can change it in the label of the legend. So instead of calling it total subtotal, just call it sales. And this one will be the invoice count. All right, and we can change the color. Let's put something like, I don't know, blue here, and the other one could be dark, green. What else can we do to make this better? So in here we have the customer name. So it's kind of too much text. So what I like to do, we can go back to the axis here, x-axis, and then we can kind of just clean this up. This will be empty. We don't need to show anything there. I think this is way better. On the cells on the left, I mean, we can keep it. Even if I think like by having cells by customer within the title, maybe having cells on the left might not be good, might not be useful. You have to think in terms of how do you make this looks attractive and nice in terms of visualization. Drill down. You want to drill down? You can drill down. And then you can drill down through as well. So you have two options of drill down. The drill down through is like the one I showed you previously, where you click on edit and then you can drill down through different report. Then this is the normal drill down. When you click on it, it just brings you to maybe another kind of report. So here, so you want to drill down, and then if you click on it, let's say on one of the chart. Maybe you want to show, because right now it's based on the customer level. Maybe you want to show different level, right? Maybe you want to show now by date, or by invoice date. That's possible. So in that case, you can click on this drop down here and choose, okay, instead of showing it based on the customer, by clicking on it, maybe I want to show it on, the creation date of those customers. So that now like the x-axis will change to something else. That's how the drill down work. So maybe in this case, let's say I want to show it on a yearly basis. I can show that. I think like on daily basis probably better. So I can choose full date. So by clicking on it, then it will show you the customer on those specific date. And then we'll test it in a moment here. So click save analysis. If you want to see an outliner, I don't think this is not that much useful at this point. Yeah, this is one more time again, the Zoho Intelligence Artificial, which is also incorporated within the chart view as well. Actually, let me rename this thing. Okay, perfect. Now I can save it. Now I have a very nice report. You can see the value. I can hover it and see the actual value. The sales. I can hover the other bar, the other line chart. I can see how many invoice count we have, which is great. So I now have a chart. I now have a pivot view. What is missing? Then we need to build a dashboard, right? No, we need those two items to actually build a very nice dashboard. So to build a dashboard, you can just click on this plus button here. Then you will have all those same options again. So I will just click on dashboard. You can skip this. And then the only thing I need to do is just drag, drop. That's it. So I'm going to search for the folder which I created. This is a folder, right? So I'll just drag. This is for the pivot view, which is nice. Then I have the chart view, which is here. So now I have a very, very nice dashboard, right? Which is actually displaying the same thing in the value. And this is also how you check if what you have built is actually accurate, because it doesn't make sense to build something which is not accurate. You want to make sure that the value is real, is accurate, the number is really accurate there. And this is another way of validating that. So then I can click on, I can just name my dashboard however I want. I will just call it, dashboard, just basically, and I can click save. You can put it under the same folder. Click OK. Now I have my dashboard. So there is obviously few things missing here. Within the dashboard, you don't just have a pivot view. You don't just have a chart view. You can also add some KPIs, right? That's what they call widget here. So you can click on the widget option, and then you can drag, drop some of those widgets. I can drag the total sales, So let's say I want to show the total sales as a KPI, right? So I'll just take it here and then I would drag it. Usually I prefer to drag it below the user filter. I'll drag it here and then it will show me, obviously, if I want to change the template. So I like the way this looks, so I don't need to change it. I can choose this one. And I want to choose the columns which I want to display. So the data column in this case could be what, like we want to show maybe the total sales, no matter who the customer is in this case. So what I would do here, I would search for my invoices, which is this one here. And I want to make the sum of the subtotal, right? I just hover it and click sum. Now I'll show you the total sum of everything. The group by, you don't really need this because anyway, it doesn't affect this type of view here. So I will leave it this way. Show primary value. Obviously you won't be able to change it because of the template which we are using. If you were using maybe like something like this one, which show, the value, the difference value between, last month and this month, and you can group it, you can do more complex things. But in this example, we are just displaying the total revenue across everything. Then I can click on the settings here. I can change the background color. So let's see, do I want to change the background color? Maybe not. I think I like the way this looks. Let me see here. You can see you can change it if you want, but I don't think this is really necessary. So I'll just leave it like this, white, without any color, any background color there. The value, how do I want this to look? The item value, showing the value there. The label, do you want to rename it? If you want to rename it, you can just change it here. So maybe I want to just call it total sales. You can say this one is all time, right? All time total sales. What else? If you want to add an image, you can do that, but I think this looks good. We don't need to do anything additional here. And I don't want to filter anything because I want to show all-time sales here. You know, if I want to show it maybe for this month only, I could do that by adding a filter. But in this case, I just want to show the all-time value. So this is good. I have my KPI, which is good there. So what else can we show? Maybe you want to show, let's see. Okay, maybe the other thing is if you click on element, you can add title, you can add paragraph, you can actually add text, you can add image, you know, you can even embed things from another application to here. So you have a lot of capability in here. And this is what we already did where we have the report itself. So maybe you want to show like sales for this month based on a target, and you will use this graph in this case, in that case. So I will just drag this here. And I have the template already selected. I want to show one more time here the sales value. So let me show the sales value here. So subtotal and sum. In this case, maybe I want to group it by the year, right? Based on the invoice date. So I want to say, okay, I want to have a target for every year. So in this case, I will just choose this year. So invoice date by year. So it can show you 2024. And you have the different option here. So it's showing you the max range dynamically selected. The target is showing you the previous target value, but what I can do here, I can change it to my own, I can choose a constant value, you know, where I can actually enter the value myself. So let's choose a constant value. Maybe I want the target to be, I don't know, 10,000. All right, 10,000. So this is my target. You know, this is kind of showing there. Maybe it's too much. Maybe let's do 800 because right now we are at 540, right? Then let's do 800. This is the max total, you know, which is fine. So this is dynamically being selected. What else can we do here? You can click on the filter if you want to filter, but we already group it by the year. So you don't really need the filter in this case. Obviously you can put the filter if you would like to just, you don't want to change anything anymore. Like you don't want to dynamically change the range or stuff like that. You can do that. That's also another option. The settings here, you can change the color, the design. So let me just put this one so you can see how that looks. You know, I think this looks nice. This one looks nicer, you know. So more you are getting to the grain, that means it's good. You know, I think this is good. You know, you have the red, you have the yellow. Right now we're in the yellow. Then once you reach the target, then you get into the grain, so which is good. And you can play with those different settings option here. You have the value. You can say, okay, what the range looks like for the green, for the red, and for the yellow, and so on, right? That's it. So I have a nice view, which is cool there. What else can we do? So let's add maybe an element here. You can bring the paragraph, right? You can put it here, just on the top. You can put whatever you want. Like, you know, this report is showing, I don't know, whatever. This report is showing sales across, you know, across multiple months and so on, right? So you can do what you can enter whatever you want there. I'm just showing you the different capability of the system. You can put a bunch of text there. And to make it look nicer, I can just drag this one maybe a bit below here. All right. So now everything is equal, is perfect. You know, what else can we do? We can add filter. I think it's missing some filter. So let's say I don't want to see, like, actually maybe one last thing missing here is maybe renaming. this report here. So maybe I can show like something like I think it's under the data, actually under the settings and under the value. So you should see the label here, right? So the label currently is just showing the date. So I can say yearly sales based on target, something like that, right? If you go back to the data here, so we're basing on this, and then we're basing a group by the year. So I think the last year where we have value for was 2024. So that's why it was kind of showing 2024, which is fine. If I was filtering just that on 2025, if I click on filter and just choosing the invoice and searching for the invoice, maybe invoice date. Let's see. I can search also if I would like. So invoice date. If I choose the invoice date, I could say I want to just, filter this to be this year. For that case, I would just choose relative, and then I would choose year. I would choose this year, right? So I could do that. You can see now there's no data because there were no data in 2025. So that's why this is empty. But just for the sake of this exercise, I'll just leave it this way so we can have, a nice view here. And let's add a filter. Right? So now let's say this all-time thing, I don't want to make it all-time anymore. I want to just choose a filter, or even this one. Maybe I want to choose a specific date and I want to see this value changing dynamically, right? Usually you want to do that because you want to play with the data and analyze it further. So in that case, what you will do is you will click on user filter, and then you will have to select the invoice because you want to see based on, okay, which time, which date, you want to see the timeline. So in this case, maybe you can just drag the invoice date. So let's search for the invoice date. I'm not seeing it there, but I will just search for it. Invoice date. I have it now, so I can just drag it here. Then I have the invoice. I can click on edit. Then I can say, okay, do I want to keep it as a date range selector? Usually I prefer using actual period. And I can choose, I can choose multiple month, multiple year if I would like to. So I would like to choose multi select box. I can choose like, I want the data to be shown as maybe like a monthly basis, and I want to include relative value as well. I would like to be able to select last 3 months, last 6 months, and so on, or year to date. So in this case, I can just select whichever I want to include. So year to date, maybe last 30 months, maybe this month, maybe today. You can click on here as well, maybe this year, previous year, last 3 years. You can really play with it, and you can add your own. You can click on new range. You can say maybe like last 6 months. If it was not there, you can show like 6 years actually. You can do the same thing for the month, like 6 months and so on, right? You can click OK. Now you have your filter ready to go. If you click save, it should be good. Now, when you add those filters, you want to make sure that you are applying this filter on the specific report which you want. You don't want to like necessarily apply the filter on all the report, but if you want to do that on the all the report, still fine. So let's test this out and see if this actually works. So view mode, you can click on it. So let's see, I want to just show, I don't know, let's say last 6 years. So it actually changed, but I think everything here happened within the last 6 years. So nothing really changed. So let's say last 3 years. So you see, it dynamically changed across everything. So because this filter can apply on everything. So if you don't want to apply it, let's say on this report, then you need to remove the settings from this report or from this graph. So how do you do that? Click on edit settings or edit design. Hover it, click on this 3 dot here. Click on options, click on customize. Right now it's using this invoice data as a filter. Uncheck it and click apply. Now, whenever you click on the filter again, it won't get applied on this report or on this graph. So let's save it, test it again. Let's see, last 3 years. So this value didn't change because we uncheck that from this graph here. So that's how it works. Then maybe this, you don't see this very attractive. Maybe you want to change the design. You can do that as well. Just click on theme here. You can add more capability to it, right? So you can add more design, more color. So let's use this one as an example. You see, I mean, it's not bad. You can use this one maybe, or this one. I mean, whichever you want. You can really change it however you want. And if you don't like this type of graph, I mean, a visualization, you can choose which one which has, you know, multicolor line. And I think this one looks nice. Or you can choose this one. You know, I don't like this one too much, but I do like this one with those line, different color line. Then you can click customize if you want to add more capability to it. You can change the card background if you want. Put something like this, you know, you can really change whatever you want on those cards. So what else? You can click on card style. You can add a shadow. You can make it high. You can increase the border. You know, there's so many things. You have a lot of capability, a lot of functionality here. I won't go through each of them individually. It's quite, you know, self-explanatory. Once you start playing with it, you'll quickly understand how this works. So I think that's it. So this how it works, how to build a dashboard, a full dashboard system inside of Zoho Analytics pretty easily. And this is like more like the beginner way of doing it. You can do more complex thing. We haven't talked about query tables. You know, we can actually create query tables here, you know, writing SQL. So you have query table option. You can use SQL to create query table. We haven't talked about data pipeline. How do you combine multiple table dynamically without necessarily having to use query table? How do you do the data transformation itself? How do you prepare data? So there's a lot of things we haven't covered here, but my main goal here was to explain how can you actually build a dashboard, beginner friendly tutorial in Zoho Analytics. So I hope this makes sense and this has been very helpful. And if this video has been very helpful for you, then subscribe and share with anyone who might be interested in learning how Zoho Analytics works. See you next time. Peace.